Hello everyone, good evening. Let me see how many of you have joined already. Hey Rosters, good evening. How are you doing, man? Good to see you back. Okay. So we are going to continue from where we left yesterday. I think we had a session yesterday if I'm not wrong. Yes? Okay. Sameer Sheikh, good evening Sameer. How are you doing? Sab kaise hain? Welcome to the sessions. I am fine, Sameer. Thank you. I hope you're doing well there. Okay. Quickly, if you have some friends who are waiting for the session, you can call them, they can join us, and then we can kickstart the proceedings today. आज का session भी काफी interesting होने वाला है on verbal ability. All right. So let me see how many of you have already joined. I can see quite a few of you have joined already. And I think along the journey, people will be joining. So far, so good. The journey has been quite exciting so far. We have had so many sessions on, unseen passages, reading comprehension, and now we had a session on verbal ability, part one. That was okay. Good to know, nice to know that you're doing nice rosters. The Wish Sailor, good evening, the Wish Sailor. I hope you're doing well there. So, आज का session भी, it is going to be quite interesting, and I am going to bring to you a basket full of questions from verbal ability. We will be solving some parajumble questions, idioms-based questions, questions based on grammar, and we are going to take off from where we left yesterday. You might have seen that the CET dates have been postponed and the registration dates, the new dates have come up. You might have followed the one of the videos of our colleague, and accordingly prepare yourself, fill up the forms, and get ready for CET Maharashtra, isn't it? So how are the studies going on? Now we have been talking about so many areas of English, be it RC, be it grammar, be it verbal reasoning and all. So today there will be a mixed bag of questions. The questions are not going to be different from what we practiced yesterday. It is just the idea is to keep the tempo going so that we don't lose out, on any of the questions, the pattern of question that you might need to practice. And believe you me, the questions are not going to be tough, as you might have already felt and realized that the questions are not that tough. It is only, the application of your mind and being focused is the key, and you can solve the questions. Rishikesh, good evening, Rishikesh. Sony, how many passages can we expect in CET? Well, to each his own, but I should not stick my neck out and say one or two. I think there will be around 3 to 4 odd passages this year, and 3 passages definitely will be there. That's what I think. So keeping that in mind, you must practice. But it is not just about passages, you see. You have so many other questions to negotiate with. हम एक passage कर सकते हैं, we can do 2 passages, and rest we can devote time and solve the rest of the questions. Right? Okay. Thank you, Sameer. Thank you. I'm humbled. He says, I'm waiting for your lecture. So all for you. So just in case some of you are joining for the first time, let me introduce myself. I am Pradip Sengupta. You can see my name there. And I welcome all of you to BYJU'S Exam Prep, one of the premier test prep platforms in India today. On that note, let us start the session today, and straight away we are going to discuss a question. So are you ready? I am ready. So let's kickstart the proceedings. Okay, here we go. This is the first question of the day. It says, what is the meaning of the given expression to give someone a wide berth? This is the expression over here. To give someone a wide berth. you have to guess the meaning of this idiom. Your time starts now. Let us see if we can answer this question. Dharmi, good evening. Dharmi, how are you doing? Okay. Mr. Football Goal is answering E to give someone a comfortable seat. Rishikesh also says E. All right. Sony says C. Rosters says A. Thank you, Rosters. Thank you, Samir. Thank you, Rishikesh, for participating. This is the initiative. This is the kind of initiative I always, look forward to from all my students. Samir has given me a lovely answer. It's either A or E. Sir, बाकी आप समझ लीजिए. हमारी श्रद्धा भक्ति है. जो भी आपको choose करना है, choose कीजिए. Thank you, Samir. Okay. Ajinkya says A. Okay. All right. C, C, C. Okay. So, to give someone a wide berth, the options were to give a person a lot of freedom, to give someone many options. C says to avoid someone, D says to be lenient, and E says to give someone a comfortable seat. Let me show you the answer. The answer to this question is C, to give someone, to avoid someone. That is the answer. I'm sorry, to avoid someone. Now, the meaning of this idiom, it dates back to 17th century. Now consider there used to be a ship. Okay, the idea was to have some space between these two ships so that they can maneuver and move easily, and to keep the ships away from the island, okay, so that they don't run into any kind of trouble. So keep space between two ships, okay, to avoid any accident. Okay, what was the idea? The idea was to avoid any accident. That was the fair idea. So from here, the feeling developed that in order to steer clear of something, okay, to steer clear of something, to avoid any kind of accident, you should say to give someone a wide berth. The idiom, this was the origin, okay. So C was the right answer, to avoid someone. Like there are many idioms which talks about people avoiding people, people ignoring people. I'll give you one more example, like give someone cold shoulder. This is again a lovely idiom which means to ignore somebody. Okay? To ignore someone. I went to the party, met Harish, wished him, but he gave me the cold shoulder. It means to ignore someone. So these idioms means to avoid people, to ignore people. So the answer was C, not A, B, D and E. I hope you have followed the question. This was question number 1 for the day, and we started on a perfect note. Okay, are we ready for the next question? Let me take you quickly to question number 2. Do some practice on idioms, guys, because this is one area which is going to be most scoring. Now, there is no, what should I say, a formula to learn idiom. Okay, you can gain on idiom, you can practice idiom when you learn more, right? When you read more, but it is better to, refer a book where idioms come in handy. Read some questions and solve them. All right? Do solve some idiom questions also. All right. The next question is lined up for you. Question number 2. It's a fill in the blanks question. Read the question very carefully and then see if we could answer this one. Okay, Sony has come up with an option. She says D or E. Football goal also goes with D. The wish sailor says E. All right. हमेशा याद रखो, whenever you go for an option, right, there has to be a potent logic behind it. एक strong logic होना चाहिए. What is the logic that you're putting in when you are, picking up D or E as your answer choice? What exactly are you thinking? This is what is important. Sameer, thank you. The Wish Sailor, thank you. Football goal. You people have wonderful names. I wonder where you get these names from. I Wish Sailor. Oh my God. Your wishes are sailing. Wonderful. Football goal. Right? Lovely names, by the way. I'm complimenting you. And that's a genuine one. Rishikesh, thank you. Aruna, thank you. Akriti, thank you. DEE. All right. Now, what is the question? Question को देख लेते हैं. It is dash, right? Whenever you have a problem, okay, question mark helps you, okay? Step number 1 to solve filler question. It's an FIB question. Step number 1, it says form a shadow word. Okay? Please form a shadow word. That's important. A says incontrovertible, disproportionately. B says inconceivable and disproportionately. C says unacceptable, remarkably. D says doubtful, extremely. And E says unimaginable and significantly. Now, let's read and feel the pulse of the sentence. Sentence ke nafs ko pakadna is very important. It is dash that vaccines have saved lives. Do you have any doubt? It is beyond an iota of a doubt that vaccines have actually saved lives. But the moment you say it is inconceivable, something which you cannot conceive, means unimaginable. This word means unimaginable. So can we say it is unimaginable that vaccines have saved lives? That is number 1. C says it is unacceptable that vaccines have saved lives. And why should it be unacceptable? That is again, a question which we need to answer. D says it is doubtful that vaccines have saved lives. So do we have any kind of inhibitions or doubts that we don't believe that vaccines have saved lives? And E says it is unimaginable that vaccines have saved lives. Now I have a question. B and E, the very first word of these two options, more or less they are synonymous to each other. Inconceivable is unimaginable, unfathomable, right? E also says unimaginable. So अगर तुम B को choose करोगे तो E ने क्या गलती करी? Right? Although for the second blank we have disproportionately, right? And over here we have significantly, means most importantly. Now when you talk about this word disproportionately, what does it mean? Disproportionately mean something which is not divided equally, or somebody getting the maximum benefit and somebody, has been left out with no benefits at all. In this case, A says incontrovertible, which means that which cannot be doubted, most certain. A means most certain, okay, beyond any shred of doubt, okay, absolutely certainly, which cannot be flouted, which cannot be challenged. So it is dash that vaccines have saved lives. Even during the mild third wave, hospitalizations were dash high among the unvaccinated. Okay, so it was quite high, surprisingly high, right? So what could be the word? Remarkably, right? It is a very positive word. Extremely, again, can we choose extremely? This would be an extreme option, right? We cannot say that even during the mild wave that the hospitalizations were extremely high. Significantly high sounds okay, but what is to be used for the first blank? The answer should have been A. Incontrovertible means absolutely certainly and then disproportionately. Okay? Just think like this. It is certain, it is sure that vaccines have saved lives. And then there is a colon. It says, even during the mild third wave, hospitalizations were disproportionately high among the unvaccinated. Always remember, the selection of the first blank, the selection of the words for the first blank will depend upon the selection of the words for the second blank or the third blank and vice versa. Right? In the first blank, Devil Done Gaming. Hi, Devil. Hi, Ashish. Welcome to the class. So over here, बड़ा smartly or बड़ा smart question था ये, right? All we needed was to choose the right word for the first blank. That is why A should have been the answer and not E, D, C or B. All right? Incontrovertible and disproportionately. That was question number 2 for us. I hope you have followed the explanation. Okay. तीसरा question देखते हैं. All right. Okay. Let's look at the next question very quickly. Again, a filler question, but this time you have 3 blanks over here. Right? And the same, we are continuing with the COVID theme. Let's do this. And please read the question very carefully before you actually attempt answering it. Oh, Devil, I missed your question. How are you, sir? I'm absolutely fantastic. How are you doing? Okay, so here comes the answers. Ajinkya says E, Ashish C, Rishikesh C, Omkar C. Okay, hurry up. Please key in the options. That's the spirit. Aruna, thank you. Vish Sailor, thank you. Mayur Ghosh says C. Okay, Mayur. Sameer says C. All right, all right. I think most of you have seen through the objective of the question. You might have understood the question now, right? Because most of you have got the answer right. And I'll tell you what the answer is going to be. But most of you have got this one right. Absolutely right. Okay. Ashish Jha says C. Saurabh Deshmukh says C. Sakshi says C. Nilesh B. Devil Done C. Om Kene C. All right. Thank you. Thank you for participating, sir. Let's quickly look at the question. While COVID, let's read the question carefully. While COVID continues in one way or another to dash, again form a shadow word, all sectors and dash of society, the nature of that impact differs like this. Differs like this. Okay. Now, for the third blank, you have differs depending on the conditions in which people find themselves. Okay. The verb differ, let me bring you to this part, right? Because I have a different aspect of solving this question. I will look at the grammar, options first. Differ is a verb, differ or differs, whatever. It will either take from, which is a preposition, right? Or we need an adverb after differ. So either we need a preposition or we need an adverb. Okay. Now look at the second blank. Significantly. Significantly. notwithstanding, which means in spite of, negligently, verb. So we need a verb, right? According is out of question. Okay. All right. While COVID continues in one way or another to dash all sectors, right? A cannot be the option for one reason. After to, you need a verb. To के बाद verb चाहिए, but effect is a noun, right? So you cannot have effect after verb. So this can be eliminated. You must know the difference between the word affect and effect, right? Affect is a verb and effect is a noun. For those who don't understand the difference, understand it with the help of an example. For example, I can say, how did the news affect him? How did the news affect him? But I can say, what was the effect of the news on him? Now, the way effect has been used in this sentence, it has been used as a noun. All right. And the way affect has been used over here, it is a verb. Okay. So A is out. To affect all sectors, this sounds okay. Okay. C says impact all sectors. This also sounds fantastic. Impel to force, well, it doesn't make that much of a sense over here. It talks about impel, and E says affecting. Now, affecting does not go with to, so even E is out. All right. So affect can be a word, right? Impact can be a word. Impel can also be a word, but over here it does not make any sense. Now, in the second blank, we are talking about society. So, aspects of society, right? The different strata of society, different levels of society, aspects of society, levels of society, aspects of society, sections of society. All these words are fantastic words. But what goes with the society over here, you talk about the aspects or the features. Okay, different features of society. So we are going to stick to aspect and not section, not region, and not level. So aspect is present in A, aspect is present in C, so it has to be either A or C. A has been eliminated because the first word was a noun, so we are going to stick to C, and the answer is C over here. So now see how the sentence pans out. It says, in one way or another, to impact all sectors and aspects of society. The nature of that impact differs. Differs how? Differs significantly depending on the conditions in which people find themselves. Hence, C should have been the answer, and most of you have got this one spot on. Right. Wonderful, and congratulations. That was question number C for us. So MH Maharashtra will be, quite it will be indiscriminating. It will not discriminate. So anybody can solve questions. आपके लिए कुछ ना कुछ questions होगा जिसको करके हम marks ला सकते हैं. All right. Question number 3. I hope you have understood. It was a very, quite a good question this was. Now, moving from vocab to grammar. Let's stay with this question. A part of the sentence has been underlined. The options give different ways of expressing the underlined part of the sentences. Choose the option that expresses the sentence correctly. Choose the option that expresses the sentence correctly in terms of grammar. That's right, Ashish. While was also one of the guesses. We could have considered that as well. Thank you. Ashish says it is option A. Thank you, Ashish. Om says D. All right. Thank you, Om. Aruna D. Ashish A. Sibha D. All right. A, C. So far it is A or C or D. All right. Saurav also says D. Thank you, Saurav. Sameer says C. Thank you, Sameer. Prathamesh is asking a question. How is IMT Hyderabad? Uh, IMT Hyderabad is an okay college, Prathamesh, but you should have better options to deal with. All right. So don't make IMT Hyderabad the Hobson's choice, right? Look for other better options also. That being said, I'm not saying that it is a bad college either, right? But look for other options. Okay, coming back to the question. So let's discuss what the problem was and what should be the right answer option for this question. All right. The question begins like this: the Supreme Court ruling that no one can be forced to get vaccinated even as it allowed for certain restrictions on individual freedom for community health draws a fine balance. Let's read the question once again. The Supreme Court ruling that no one can be forced to get vaccinated even as it allowed for certain restrictions on individual freedom for community health draws a fine balance. This question again is based on subject verb agreement. All right. The subject over here is the Supreme Court ruling. This is the subject. Okay. And then you have so many words in between. And then finally we have the verb draws a fine balance. Okay. Now please ask a question. What draws a fine balance? Supreme Court ruling. Now what is this ruling? Singular or plural? Let's answer this quickly. What is ruling? Singular or plural? It is singular, if I am not wrong. Right? And I hope that you people will agree with me on this. Since we have a singular subject, we need a singular verb. It should be draws, and it is present in option A. Right? This was the only concept that was tested in this question. B says draw, plural verb. This is wrong. C says draw, plural verb. This is wrong. D says drawing. Now suddenly we are using a participle over here. There was no need of a participle. So that makes D wrong and ungrammatical. E also makes the same mistake. It says drawing up a fine balance. Okay, it draws a fine balance. We don't need this expression. So what are we going to stick to? We are going to stick to A, and this is the answer. Okay. Now, here is the trick. Whenever you read a sentence which is ridiculously long, right? Always understand that the question is based on subject-verb agreement, or it is going to test you on the tenses. Okay, long sentences means it will commit error of proximity. Okay, if you remember, I discussed this concept yesterday in the class, error of proximity. Okay, let me give you one more, just a second. Let me give you one more example. Okay, I am back. All right, let me give you one more example. Now, how about this question? Prominent among the volunteers was or were Shekhar, who was encouraged by Nikki and तुषार. अब इस सेंटेंस को बहुत ध्यान से पढ़ना. Okay, let me read the sentence to you. It says prominent among the volunteers. अब तुम्हें चूज करना है was या were. Shekhar, who was encouraged by Nikki and Tushar. Do you need was or do you need were? Decide quickly. I'll leave you with this question for 15 seconds. It's a trick question. Okay, was, all right. Okay, was, okay. Rohan says was, Vish Sailor says was, Omkar says was. Now, I told you earlier that it's a trick question, right? You should ask yourself a simple question before you answer this question over here, before you read this question. The sentence is asking you two things. Who is encouraging whom? Who is encouraging whom? Look at the comma. Okay, right after Nikki, we have a comma over here, right after Nikki, which means Nikki is encouraging Shekhar and Tushar is another volunteer like Shekhar. Okay, अगर तुषार और निकी दोनों शेखर को इंस्पायर कर रहे होते या एनकरेज कर रहे होते, इस कॉमा की जरूरत नहीं थी. निकी एंड तुषार then would have been one single party. And because we have a comma over here, it is Nikki who is encouraging Shekhar and Tushar is another volunteer. So we need were over here and not was. This is error of proximity. Okay. Pick up Brennan Martin. Go to the chapter subject verb agreement and read error of proximity from there and you will understand what exactly I'm talking about. I hope you have followed the concept. Yes? So this was question number 4 for us. Let's move on to the next question quickly. All right. Question number 5. Now we are back to dealing with antonyms and synonyms. Question number 5 says, which of the following words is closest in meaning to the given word? And the word is perfunctory. MH Maharashtra will not be as sneaky as this question, Ashish, so be rest assured. You'll have fun. Okay. Okay, my fault. The answer is right here. So I will not waste my time on this question. Right? The answer is careless. Okay. But let's understand. Yes, Samir, you gave the right answer. Okay. Let's understand. Okay. What is perfunctory? Perfunctory means do something unwillingly. Okay. To do something unwillingly, that is perfunctory. Something which is cursory. Okay. Something which is cursory, something which is desultory. Right? That is perfunctory. And anything which is done unwillingly, right, has to be careless. Careful is the opposite of perfunctory. Functioning does not make any sense. So we will stick to careless. Perfunctory means careless. Alright. So that was the answer. I showed you the answer. Right. Anyways. I wish you get all the answers like this when you write your MH Maharashtra. I hope you all the very best. Well, on that note, let's move on to the next question. Which of the following is closest in meaning to the given word? Which of the following is closest in meaning to the given word? Okay. Now I'll be very careful with this slide. Yes, wish, sailor, it means without real interest. That's what it means. If you're talking about the previous slide, not this one. Rohan says D. Thank you, Rohan. Okay. Vitiate. Wish, sailor says C. Auspicious. Okay. Ashish says A. To please. Okay. Aruna has answered A. Thank you, Aruna. Okay. So what was the question? Which of the following is closest in meaning to the given word? The word is propitiate. Okay. All right. It actually means to win the heart of a person, of somebody, right? By doing something for him or her. That is propitiate. It means to appease, okay, to mollify. It can be so many words. So, for propitiate, the word should be, it's a verb, and that's why it is a please. Displease would be the opposite of it. Auspicious means blessed. Okay. Vitiate means to make things worse, to spoil things, to make things bad. That is vitiate. Okay. To tarnish, to spoil. Suspect is a negative word over here. Okay. So the real meaning, the right meaning should have been A, please. I changed my answer to A. You did the right thing, wish sailor. Thank you. Good for you. So that was question number 6 for us. Now let's move on to the next question very quickly. And please pay attention to this question. It's a great question, I must say. Which of the following is most opposite in meaning to the given word? The word is coerce. You've got to find out the antonym, the opposite of it. Dharmi Thakkar says C. Thank you. Ash says A. All right. Quickly, please key in the options. C, C. All right. A. Sakshi says C. Thank you, Sakshi. Thank you. Aghav. All right. Sameer says C. All right. Okay. So, what is coerce exactly? Coerce means it's a verb, right? When you try to convince somebody by force, okay, it's a negative word, okay? You try to convince somebody, you make somebody agree to something using your force and against his willingness, okay? Against willingness, right? It's a negative word, which means to force. So coerce and force can be synonymous to each other, right? Compel means to force, मजबूर करना किसी को. Persuade means what? Persuade means to convince somebody with logic and reasoning, and not by force, not against his will. So persuade is a different word altogether. Impel, initiate, they don't go with the feeling of coerce. Impel also means using force. Initiate means to begin. Initiate means to begin. So all these words, they are kind of synonyms of coerce. So the right option should have been C, persuade. Okay. The correct antonym for coerce is to persuade. Not force, not compel, not impel or initiate. Okay. Yes, coerce means force. Wish, Sayla, you are absolutely right. And persuade means to convince somebody with logic and reasoning. All right, and not by force. And that is why C should be the correct opposite of coerce. This was question number 7 for us. All right, I hope you people followed. Let's look at one more question. Which of the following is most opposite in meaning to the given word? Again, we are dealing with antonyms, most opposite. The word is indolent. A is lazy, B is diligent, C is rude, D is polite, and E is poor. Polite, D. All right. Sakshi says D. All right. B. Thank you. B. All right. Aruna has marked B. Football goal B. Dhami, Tucker B. Siba B. All right. Indolent is an adjective. Sameer, absolutely right. It is an adjective. Yes. Okay. So let's talk about the question. The answer is diligent. Okay. The answer is diligent. Indolent means what? Indolent means someone to avoid work. One who avoids work. To avoid work. Okay. To avoid work. He hates exertion. He does not like exertion. Okay. So if you are somebody who hate physical activity, hate work, what does that make you? That makes you lazy. So it can be a synonym of indolent, not opposite. Okay, the opposite would be diligent, which means hardworking. Okay, industrious, right? That is diligent. Indolent is lazy, right? Rude is something else, being impolite to people. Polite means being, well-mannered, that is being polite. Poor, these are not the opposite of indolent. The word should have been be diligent. I hope you followed what exactly indolent means and what should be the opposite of it. Please, guys, work on your vocab, right? Solve a few antonym, synonym questions. Pick up any book that gives you some insight into antonym and synonym. Work on the basic antonym and synonym, right? So as to get these answers right. These are score maximizers. Let me tell you. Divide your paper in two parts. First part would be score enhancer, that enhances your score. That will be your RC. And the other part would be score maximizer. That will take your score, English score, through the roofs. And these are the questions. These are easy questions. Believe you me, if you practice them well, you're going to make history out there. Okay, please practice such questions, all of you. All right. So the answer is B. You have followed it. Let's move on to the next question quickly. Okay, read this question. It's a sentence improvement question. 3 boys had drowned when they tried to swim in the village pond. A says had drowned, B says drowned, C says were drowned, D says had been drowned, and E says had been drowning. What is your pick? Let me know. All right, I can see already some of the answers have been keyed in. Siva says C, Rohan says B, Dharmi B, Samriddhi B, Ashish C, Shruti, B, football goal C. All right. Samir says C, okay. Please read the question very carefully and try to feel the pulse and the time frame. The time frame is important. 3 boys had drowned when they tried to swim in the village pond. Alright, let us see, guys, what the answer should be. But first of all, let's understand. Let's consider this to be a timeline. Okay? This was a question based on tense. Yes. Let's say this is the present tense and this part. I call it immediate past. Okay? Or the home of the present perfect. Okay? And this part which you see here, this is past. Now what happened? 3 boys, they drowned. And when did they drown? When they tried to swim. So go back in the past when they tried to swim at the same time. Remember, at the same time, what happened? They drowned. Right? So at a given point of time, listen to me very carefully, at a given point of time, two past action happens. It is not one action happening after another. It is two actions, two past actions happening at the same time. So in that case, we need two past indefinite tense. What do we need? We require two past indefinite tense. Why? Because two past actions are happening at the same time. Alright? That is why the answer should be B, drowned, and not had drowned. Had drowned कब इस्तेमाल करेंगे? Let's say we have two past actions. Okay? इन चीजों को समझना is very important. There are two past actions, the old past action and the new past action. Okay? The old and new. The question is, X came after Y left. Okay, remember this word. Whenever you have an old past action, this should always be written in the past perfect tense. Old past action को कैसे लिखेंगे? Past perfect tense में show करेंगे. New past action should be kept in the simple past tense. Alright, so X came after Y left. It should have been, now what is the old past action? Y left. After that X came. So the answer should have been X came after Y had left. X came after Y had left. Follow this. Okay. But in this case, two past actions happening at the same time. So please use the past indefinite tense. Hence B should be the answer. C is not the answer. Again, it's a trick question. I hope you followed my explanation. Yes, this is why B should be the answer and not C. And word round, why to make it passive unnecessarily? Right? देखो, were drowned. अब मेरी बात को समझो. What is were? The B form. What is B form? Is, am, are, was, were. These are B forms. तो ये B form है. Plus drowned, D-R-O-W-N-E-D, it means it is the third form of the verb. So B form plus B3 will give you passive. Right? And there was no need of a passive voice over here. Hence, C should not have been the option. Okay? Mark B. That was question number 9 for us, guys. Alright? Okay. The next question. Parajumbles. Our friend, and this is a savior. When everything goes wrong, Parajumble comes to your rescue and saves you, isn't it? Okay. Read the question properly. Sameer, I will come to this question right after this slide. Just bear with me for a minute or two. Ashish has keyed in B, Samriddhi B, Shruti C, the Wish Sailor says B, Saurav B, Football Goal B, Siva says B. Okay. So you took no time, you just answered the question in a jiffy. That's wonderful. B, all right. So what exactly the question was? In a crash in December 21, there has been an inordinate Chief of Defence after General Bipin Rawat's, it should be, death. Delay in appointing the country's new. The country's new, of course, you know that D and C are going to make a pair, right? So what should be the answer? The answer should have been B, D, C, A, and B is the answer. Most of you have got this one absolutely fantastically correct. Okay, this was the sentence. There has been an inordinate delay in appointing the country's new Chief of Defence after General Bipin Rawat's death in a crash in December 21. Okay, hats off to you. You people got this one absolutely right. Now, yes, coming to the question, which book to follow for verbal? There are many books available in the market for verbal, right? I will not suggest any name because most of the books are equally good. But get one book which is from a renowned author, right? You can definitely, refer to Arun Sharma for that matter. But as far as the basics of grammar is concerned, I have been, shouting my head off and telling my students, please refer to Wren and Martin for all the basics of grammar that you require to brush up your basic skills. Okay, and follow the BYJU'S test prep material. And also, now what is important at this juncture, right? Please stick to taking as many mocks as possible. Try to take as many mocks as possible because this is going to be the savior, right? If we are not taking mocks, then we are making a big mistake over here, right? Not taking mocks at this point of time is a cardinal sin and we can't afford to do that. Don't be a sinner. Take mocks because they are going to, bring you across the basic and the state-of-the-art question patterns which MAH CET is going to ask you. All right, take mocks and refer. I said Arun Sharma, right? These are the books which you should be referring. All right. Yes, Wish, the question was easy enough for you to decipher and crack. So on that note, we come to the end of today's session. I hope you have enjoyed the session, and in the journey, of course, we learned quite a new concepts today, and we will be bringing to you many more sessions on MAH CET very soon. In fact, we are going to start a session very soon. Stay tuned for all the latest updates that you require for MAH CET. Okay. On that note, this is an information for you. CAT 22, the batches have been rolled out. Should you need admission or you're looking for CAT 22 batch, please call on the given number or write into us at support@byju'sexamprep.com. Also, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to BYJU'S Exam Prep. Follow us on Instagram, YT, इसमें तो हम आप मिलते ही रहते हैं, we'll become friends now, right? Facebook, follow us on Telegram and download the app from Google Play Store, of course. Okay. Thank you for watching the video. Stay blessed and don't forget to like the session. Alright, so this is Pradip Sengupta signing off for today. See you on the other side of the story. Stay amazing, stay blessed, and wish you all the very best for CET Maharashtra. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you, Aruna. Thank you, Rohan. Thank you, Sameer. Thank all of you.